The Pan-African Parliament President Chief Fortune Charambira flagged off the opening session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament since his election in July 2022, meeting under the theme Strengthening Resilience in Nutrition and Food Security on the African Continent. Chief Charambira says the theme could not be more timely.
Given the tragic circumstances that we find ourselves as a continent, the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with the Russian-Ukraine conflict, have exposed the glaring inadequacies in our own skilled economies. It is tragic that up to this day, Africa remains a net importer of food, although it is 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. What makes it even more sad reading is that throughout Africa, 25 countries import maize. So 25 countries import more than a third of their wheat from Ukraine and Russia, and have naturally experienced a fallout from the conflict. Disruptions to wheat supplies from Russia and Ukraine are clearly having major repercussions on food and security and nutrition across the continent. Additionally, over 8 million children under 5 years are stunted, and 58.7% of those stunted are in Africa.
Food insecurity for various reasons like drought and conflict, climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic have left many countries in a bad state and vulnerable, with millions of children bearing the brunt alongside adults. Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tiniz, Speaker of the Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States, says countries should work together to end hunger.
Undernourishment across the African continent is impacting negatively on the growth of children, and if this ugly trend is left unchecked, the human development agenda of our children is at a very serious risk. Furthermore, climate change and the increase in the impact of climate-related shocks such as drought, flooding, and torrential rain has slowed growth and increased poverty in many areas. The food security crisis provides all the urgency we need, and now is a moment to work together across governments, across countries, and between people to end hunger. Now is a moment to forge partnership with civil society, the private sector, to galvanize the diaspora, to take advantage of new technologies and better techniques to build the food systems and the structures of the future. To this end, the development of homegrown model agriculture must be fundamentally reviewed. We observed that the agricultural policy in most of our states is based mainly on cash crops.
The Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland, who was a special guest, says an urgent solution is needed to elevate the immediate crisis.
We must continue to strive for a world in which everyone has enough, not just to survive, but to thrive. A world in which the way we produce and consume food is in concert with the planet, not in conflict with it. And a world in which our food systems are resilient and able to withstand the external shocks. We need a paradigm shift, and the starting point of any paradigm shift is smart, specific, targeted, practical action.
South Africa's Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, challenged the members of Parliament to follow the African Union Model Law on Food and Nutrition Security that was discussed at the committee sitting in August this year.
I believe that the Model Law on Food and Nutrition Security in Africa, discussed during the committee sitting held in August 2022, provides guidance on how best to align these functions of food security and nutrition, which tend to be located in the Ministries of Agriculture and Health, respectively. One of the tools that will also give us an indication of the progress we have made, including on the issues of hunger, poverty, as well as of unemployment of the youth, is the review of the first 10-year implementation of the Pan-African Agenda 2063 next year. Africa is a youthful continent we must unlock the food potential of the young citizens of our continent to contribute to food security and the advancement of technology and the economy of the continent. I would like to encourage all of us to follow that process closely.
UNICEF estimates that 21 million children lack access to enough food to meet minimum food needs, leaving them at a high risk of severe wasting. According to the 2022 Global Report on Food Crisis, at least 1 in 5 Africans go to bed hungry. An estimated 140 million people in Africa face acute food insecurity. Chief Charumbira has encouraged members of the Pan-African Parliament to continue interrogating the continent's policies and programs towards food security. From Johannesburg, South Africa, I'm Rapela Musala for Bronoma TV.